Hi guys, so today I decided I'm going to do a video on something that's not actually beauty related. It's actually a review of a series of books that I've been reading for just over a year now, and it's the Celestra series by Addison. I got the first book because it's a free download on Amazon Kindle website, and that one's ethereal, and I got it just as a taster, to be honest. As it was free, I wasn't really too worried about giving it a go and not necessarily liking it. So I tried it, and from the beginning I've been absolutely addicted to them. I don't want to go too much into detail about the storyline, because obviously there are probably people watching this who haven't actually read the books yet. But the sort of brief outline is they are a paranormal romance story, and they're basically about a 16-year-old girl called Skylar Messenger who moves to Paragon Island with her family, her mother and her stepfather and her two sisters, and she basically discovers something about herself that completely throws her line of thought. She doesn't understand this situation, and she doesn't really know much about it. She goes on to meet two boys on the island called Logan and Gage, and later on in the series she also meets a man called Marshall Dudley, who happens to be her teacher, but overall she actually falls in love with the three of them. That story in itself has kept me going all throughout the series. I've flipped between Marshall, Logan, Gage being my favourites and not knowing who she was going to end up with in the end. The books are Tremble is the second one, Ethereal, as I mentioned earlier, was the first, Burn is number 3, Wicked is number 4, Vex is number 5, Expel is number 6, Toxic is part 1 is number 7, Toxic part 2 is 7.5, and Elysian is the final book, which is number 8. I don't have the paperbacks, and I'm using my iPad to film this, so this is the cover of Elysian, but it's actually backwards, but you kind of get the idea. The cover of all of the books are just beautiful. They're really well designed, and I wish I had the paperback because I think they look lovely on a bookshelf. Even if you didn't read them, they just look really nice. But seriously, they are well worth a read. Nothing will keep you going quite as well as this series. If you want something to absolutely captivate you, this is the one to read. They are relatively sophisticated in the writing and the vocabulary, but not so hard going that you couldn't read them before you go to bed. They're probably aimed more at the older teenager, sort of young adult kind of audience, but purely because they do have a little bit of bad language. But if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, then obviously not a problem. I won't go into detail about the story itself, purely because people might not have read the books when they see this, and I don't want to spoil it. But Addison Moore is an absolute genius, and I can't get over how much this series has had me addicted. Anyone who follows me on Facebook or Twitter will know that I recently had a car accident and quite badly hurt my back, so I haven't been able to sit still long enough to read Elysian properly. So I'm still in the dark as to how the actual series ends, which is absolutely doing my nut in, because I know there are people out there who have read it, but I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. So hopefully soon I'll be able to get to the end of it and finally find out how it ends, because to be perfectly honest, even when I do find out, I'm pretty sure I will cry, because Skylar's going to end up with Logan, Gage or Marshall, I'm assuming. Maybe it's none of them, in which case I will definitely cry. But, you know, I love them all, and it's just so well written. I mean, the characters themselves, I feel like I've got to know them. Like, I've actually started to feel proper emotions towards them, to the point where I literally want to throttle her stepfather. I want to marry Gage, and it's just crazy. I can't even explain like how well these characters have been brought to life. I mean, Addison has got Twitter as well, so I will poke a link downstairs. And to be honest, she's an absolutely lovely person, so even if you don't read the books, pop by and say hi, because she is so sweet. As far as I know, she makes the effort to reply to everybody on Twitter, which is quite rare these days, so that's nice. She's also written another book called Someone to Love, which is available, I know, on Amazon Kindle, but probably on other websites, which I'll also post a link. But that's another story, but it's another great book, which also kept me going for a good few days. But as far as the Celestra series goes, I know that this series has pretty much been Addison's like little baby for a few years now, and you know, she's nurtured it, and you can tell she's put a lot into these books, and it shows. She's done so well. I can't praise it enough. And as I said, she's absolutely lovely. So pop by her Twitter. She's also got a blog, which I will post a link to. And just pop by and say hi. Let me know what you think. If you've read these books or if you're thinking about reading them, let me know. And I'd love to hear your opinions. So thank you for listening. Definitely go read this series because they are well worth it. I will post links down below, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.